Welcome back to another episode of our German learning show where I explain or read to you some articles, like Wikipedia articles or general articles. And yeah, today we have the topic of marzipan, or I don't know, is it marzipan in English too? Let me just check. It's this, marzipan, right? Marzipan, interesting. But in general, marzipan as this sugar sweet mass of I think almonds, but we're gonna get into that. And yeah, I think let's just start reading and explaining it word by word and in general. So, marzipan, das auch der, and there are the phonetic, descriptions, the way you kind of say this. But yeah, by the way, today we're gonna go and do that, and we're gonna go get probably into that because here it's kind of what I wanted to show you, because it may have some relation to Germany or in terms of its development. But yeah, we're gonna get into that. But we're gonna see how far we're gonna get today, because it always takes longer than I expect. But yeah, marzipan, das auch der Marzipan oder Marzipan, I don't even know if that makes any difference, ist eine Süßware aus gemahlenen Mandeln, Zucker und, je nach Herkunft, beigefügten Aromastoffen. Die aus blanchierten und geschälten Mandeln und Zucker hergestellte Masse wird als Marzipan-Rohmasse bezeichnet. Das Verhältnis von Rohmasse und weiterem zugesetzten Zucker bestimmt die Qualität des Marzipans. Weltbekannt sind das Lübecker Marzipan, das Marzipan de Toledo, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that anyways, aus Toledo, Spanien, und das Königsberger Marzipan. That was for the first part. I think we're just gonna leave out that. I'm not gonna read that too, but later. Marzipan, of course. Marzipan, das auch der, that just says that it's the it's the kind of, the article. This is the neutral, das is just the neutral article, der is the masculine article, so it just says you could either use the neutral or the masculine article for it to describe it, or just use it in general. Ist eine Süßware aus gemahlenen Mandeln, Zucker und, je nach Herkunft, beigefügten Aromastoffen. So, marzipan ist eine Süßware aus gemahlenen Mandeln, is eine feminine Süßware. That just means sweet pastry, I guess. I don't know if it's pastry, if pastry is more like baking, but it just means that's something sweet. Eine Süßware aus gemahlenen Mandeln. Aus gemahlenen Mandeln. Aus, general as a preposition, means out of, outside of, but in this case it just refers to made out of, and that is just I wouldn't say a phrase, but kind of a phrase where you use a lot in terms of recipes, or like when, I don't know, something is made out of like steel, like something with ingredients, and like in baking or cooking. So something is made out of, aus. It's kind of the same in English, but it's just a bit more confusing in German, or might be. Gemahlenen Mandeln, that just means ground, I guess. Gemahlen. Let me just check. Sorry, gemahlen. Yeah, that is when you, I guess, mille is the English term, but yeah. Gemahlenen Mandeln, that is almonds, the English German word for almonds. Zucker, which is sugar, and of course, je nach Herkunft, that means je is the word for, in this case, according to, not according to, but it depends on something, je nach Herkunft, so it's kind of depending. Nach is also a preposition, refers to after, but in this case it says depending on, je nach. This is the construction that just says depending on. Herkunft, that means not nationality, but like where it's from. Which is origin is, I guess, the word to say that. Beigefügten Aromastoffen. Beigefügt means put in, put to. That is because bei just means like to, in this case as a preposition to put something into, or into in general, but it's like besides. And gefügt refers to the word fügen, but in this case hinzufügen, which just means add. Fügen is more like older, but in general it means hinzufügen, and that just means add. So that refers to beigefügt, so added. Aromastoffen, which just means aroma, just aromas, but the, what's it called, chemicals, I guess. Aromastoff. Flavorings, yeah, you could probably say that. So the added flavorings. So this sentence just means marzipan is a sweet, I guess, or treat, made out of almonds, sugar, and, depending on the origin, added flavorings. Die ausblanchierten, I think some people would probably also say blanchiert, or something that would be very German, but in general, this word, of course, derives from the French word blanchir or something, I don't freaking know. But like to, I guess, what's it called? Make a, to, I guess, boil it in water for a very, very short period of time, or in hot water, not necessarily boil it, but put it into water, hot water, but yeah. Anyways, die aus blanchierten und geschälten Mandeln und Zucker hergestellte Masse wird als Marzipan-Rohmasse bezeichnet. Yeah, I was just talking about the way to pronounce that. Das Verhältnis von Rohmasse und weiterem zugesetzten Zucker bestimmt die Qualität des Marzipans. Die aus blanchierten und geschälten Mandeln und Zucker hergestellte Masse, the, again we have this aus, which just means made out of, blanchierten, which just means, blanchier, what's it called? Forgot the way to say that in English. Blanchieren, that's the verb. Blanched, I hope it's the right way to say that. Blanchiert, blanched, yeah, I guess blanched. So the out of blanched and, und geschälten Mandeln, that is peeled almonds. Geschält derives from the word Schale, which can have different meanings, like it can mean a bowl, but in this case it means the peel of something, or a shell of like a what's it called, a crab or snail. But in this case it means the peel of the almonds. I mean, they barely even have any peel, but I guess you know what I mean. Mandeln, so almonds, the peeled almonds, and sugar, produced, hergestellte, produced, derives from the word Herstellung, or herstellen, but with a lowercase h, because it's a verb. Herstellen, that just means produce. There is some word stellen, which just means to put, and her is just the prefix that makes it have a different meaning. Anyways, so the produced mass, the as of blanched and peeled almonds and sugar produced mass wird als Marzipan-Rohmasse bezeichnet. Wird bezeichnet, of course, is the passive form, so wird is in general just the future form of be, so is will be, or will you could say, because it's the passive. Wird bezeichnet, that is being called. Bezeichnet, yeah, it's just bezeichnet, to call something, yeah, in some sort of way. Die hergestellte Masse wird als is being called, just to again explain the verb because it's important for the construction, is being called als. This is a preposition, can mean in terms of time when you do something, but in this case it just means as something. It's being called as, or yeah, it's being called the marzipan Rohmasse, which just means the roh is the word for raw. Just gonna write that, but you know what I mean. So something is raw, something is pure, and masse is just the mass, so the pure mass of the marzipan. So this just means the marzipan Rohmasse, pure marzipan mass. Let me just translate that by Google, or I'll let Google translate that. Marzipan paste, yeah, you could say that. So this is being called the marzipan paste. Das Verhältnis von Rohmasse und weiterem zugesetzten Zucker bestimmt die Qualität des Marzipans. Das Verhältnis, the relation, that can also in some like what's it called? Did you say juristic? I don't know, like, or law kind of courts kind of sense. It can mean a relationship, but in this case it just means the relation. The relation of the von Rohmasse, of the raw mass, again we have this word, und weiterem zugesetzten Zucker, and weiterem means other or more, zugesetzten added, Zucker, sugar, bestimmt die Qualität, bestimmen means what's it called? Bestimmen. Let me just forgot what it means. Yeah, in English determines, you could say determine. Bestimmen, that's the verb. It determines the quality, again very similar as in English. So the relation of the raw mass or raw paste and the added sugar determines the quality of the marzipan. Des is the word in German to say of something, because it's the genitive case of the determined article, I guess. But yeah, that is very grammatically speaking. Yeah, so this entire sentence means the out of blanched and peeled almonds and sugar. That would be kind of word by word, but I guess you get what I mean. Produced Mars as being, or word by word, is as marzipan paste being called, or in English is being called marzipan paste. The relation of the raw paste and the added sugar determines the quality of the marzipan. Weltbekannt sind das Lübecker Marzipan, das Marzipan de Toledo aus Toledo, Spanien, oder in Klammern Spanien, und das Königsberger Marzipan. Weltbekannt is I think, kind of, I wouldn't say unique word in German, but as it is one word, it's kind of unique. That just means known worldwide, or worldwide known or famous. Bekannt just means known or famous. Weltbekannt with world. Welt means world. So worldwide known. This, yeah, makes it worldwide known, I guess. Sind das Lübecker Marzipan, plural form. Das Lübecker Marzipan, the Lübecker Marzipan. Lübeck is a city in the north of Germany, I guess. Lübeck, yeah. And I think there some sort of marzipan got fabricated or got produced there, or yeah, we're gonna get into that in the history part bit. Anyways, it seems to be kind of famous. and the marzipan de Toledo, which seems to be a Spanish version of the marzipan from Toledo, which seems to be a Spanish city. Spanien is just the German word for Spain. Sorry if I confuse the English and German words. And the Königsberger Marzipan. So, worldwide known are the Lübecker Marzipan, so the marzipan from Lübeck, das Marzipan de Toledo, the Toledo, however you want to say that, marzipan from Toledo. This is, as I said, it can also mean as a preposition in terms of the place, aus Toledo, but this is also kind of a not a special case, but aus is just in terms of where it's from, but in general it means when it's outside of something, so it's not necessarily exactly meaning what it means, but also this is part of what it means, at least in this case. Und das Königsberger Marzipan, because it includes something and not like excludes something. But yeah, anyways, that is very, very precise and specific, but just saying that this means out of Spain, Toledo. Und das Königsberger Marzipan, and the Königsberger Marzipan, that just means marzipan from Königsberg, which which is a city in Germany. I don't know where exactly it is, but yeah, somewhere in Germany. So here we have a picture of it. Here we have some, I guess like more, more fabricated, produced, more, let me just, verarbeitet, processed, yeah, like painted and with probably some flavors in it, but anyways. Let's get into the history part. That just means Geschichte. Geschichte is history in German. So, Kulturhistoriker sind sich weitgehend einig, dass Marzipan seinen Ursprung im Orient hat, auch wenn es einer lokalen Legende nach 1407 in Lübeck entstanden sein soll. Dort soll nach einer Hungersnot dieses Brot, in Anführungszeichen Brot, in Gänsefüßchen Brot, but in general, in Anführungszeichen, just Brot, erfunden worden sein, als es in der Stadt nur noch Zucker und Mandeln gab. Gleiches wird jedoch unter anderem auch 1409 aus Königsberg berichtet. Die Legende ist nicht plausibel, da Mandeln und Zucker im Mittelalter wertvoll waren und jederzeit gegen größere Mengen Brot oder Fisch hätten getauscht werden können. Let's just for now leave it at that. So, Kulturhistoriker sind sich weitgehend einig, dass Marzipan seinen Ursprung im Orient hat, auch wenn es einer lokalen Legende nach 1407 in Lübeck entstanden sein soll. So for the explanation, that was what I was referring to earlier in terms of Germany and Lübeck. We're going to get into that. Kulturhistoriker, which means which way do you say that? Kulturhistoriker. Yeah, cultural historian. I don't know. I think you know what that means, but it's kind of a person that is that is like in research of in terms of culture and history. But yeah, I guess you know what that means. Sind sich weitgehend einig are themselves. That is the form you need to express that. Sich einig sein, which is kind of a phrase word to say agree on something, or phrase. Sind sich einig, they themselves, weitgehend just means in general, or word by word that would mean wide or far going, but this means in general. So they are in general agreeing on something. And that is that, das just means that, Marzipan seinen Ursprung im Orient hat, its origin in the Orient. Is the Orient also in English? Middle East, I guess you could also say. Yeah, in the, I guess, Middle East, it has its origin there. Auch wenn es einer lokalen Legende nach 1407 in Lübeck entstanden sein soll. Also, auch wenn es einer lokalen Legende nach, or in this case, even though, but that just means also, when, or if, but in this case, even though, it's a local legend, after, but in this case, according to, in the year 1407 in Lübeck entstanden sein soll, means sein soll. Soll just means to, like you should, but in this case it means it is supposed to, supposedly, probably that's the right way to say, supposedly it was first, like entstanden, what's it called, first, not produced, but I'm blanking on the word right now. Entstehen. Yeah, arise, result, emerge, develop. Yeah, probably developed or be produced, originates there. Because we're gonna get into that of some, what's it called, legend or something, I don't know. So cultural historians or something are agreeing in general, or mostly agreeing on something, on the fact that marzipan has its origin in the Orient, or its origin lies in the Orient or the Middle East, even though according to a local legend, I guess, I don't know if that's the same in English, because legends, I guess in English, more like something is iconic, but in this case, legende just means, can have also different means, but this means a kind of myth or legend, yeah. Einer lokalen Legende nach, please don't be confused, nach 1407 could also in some contexts mean after the year 1407, but this still belongs to this part of the sentence, even though according to a local myth or legend, nach einer Legende, that just, as I was explaining earlier, it can mean according to something, so this is just still belonging to this part of the sentence, in Lübeck entstanden sein soll, so it is, people are supposing that it arose first in Lübeck, which is the city in the north of Germany, in 1407. Here again we have this word should, soll. Dort soll nach einer Hungersnot dieses Brot erfunden worden sein, als es in der Stadt nur noch Zucker und Mandeln gab. There, dort is there. Should, just for word by word, there should, after or according to in this case, a famine. Hungersnot means hungers. Hunger, this derives from the word hunger, and Not, which is, what's it called? Not, to be in need for something. Not, yeah. Yeah, emergency is the right way. Like a hunger emergency, you say in German, but in English it's famine, probably deriving from French or some Latin word, but yeah. Anyways, there should, according to a famine, dieses Brot erfunden worden sein. This bread in these, what's it called? Gänsefüßchen. I don't even know which way you say that. That is kind of the way you say that in German. Sorry. Quotation marks, yeah. Could say that this way. But in German you say in Anführungszeichen or in Gänsefüßchen, but in Anführungszeichen is probably more official. Erfunden worden sein, so this supposedly in terms of context, it means supposedly, but word by word, this means it should have been erfunden, invented, worden sein, which is the construction you use to say it supposedly should have been invented. Not should have, but should have been, just expresses that something supposedly happened in the past. Yeah. Common construction in German. Soll erfunden worden sein. So yeah, maybe it was being invented, this kind of bread, after a famine, als es in der Stadt nur noch Zucker und Mandeln gab. When it in the city only still sugar and almonds gab. This derives from the word geben. Es gibt means there is, there are. This is, I think, like, it doesn't matter if there is plural or if it's just one thing, it's always the same. Es gibt einen, es gibt zwei, es gibt drei of something. That is, there is one, there is two, there are three of something, or there are two of something. Yeah. Anyways, so when there was only sugar and almonds in the city, nur noch, this just means only. Noch is just what is being left, what is left still there, you know. Yeah. I hope you get what this sentence means. Gleiches wird jedoch unter anderem auch 1409 aus Königsberg berichtet. Gleiches means the same, or yes, not in general the same. Wird berichtet just means is being reported. Bericht is a report. Wird berichtet is being reported. Wird jedoch, what's it called? Jedoch, but you would probably say but the same is being reported. So it's just a different construction of saying but. Unter anderem, Gleiches wird, unter anderem, what's the right way to say that in English? As part of something, no, that would be kind of word by word. Unter anderem, word by word means under others, other things, you know. That just means, no, what's to say? Gleiches wird unter anderem berichtet. I'm just gonna translate that into the, put that into the Google Translator. Gleiches wird unter anderem berichtet. Yeah, among other things, that's the right way to say that. I could also have just written unter anderem, but I'm not quite sure if it would have been, of course, Gleiches with EI, not with AI. But I'm not quite sure if it had translated correctly, but yeah, it did. Thankfully, because it's always better to put some context into Google Translator to make it translate the right thing. Yeah, among other things. So the same was or is being reported among other things. Auch 1409, also 1409. Aus Königsberg, from Königsberg. Berichtet is part of the is being reported. Yeah, so the same is being reported among other things in the year 1409 from Königsberg. Die Legende ist nicht plausibel, da Mandeln und Zucker im Mittelalter wertvoll waren und jederzeit gegen größere Mengen Brot oder Fisch hätten getauscht werden können. The myth or legend, die Legende, the myth, ist nicht plausibel, is not, do you say plausible also in English? I could say that probably. Plausible, yeah. But general, yeah, this means it's not very realistic. Da Mandeln und Zucker im Mittelalter wertvoll waren, as dad. It could also mean there, but in this case it means as almonds and sugar in the Middle Age. Just means in the, and is the dative case, I guess, because it's in whom, in what, in this case, because it's kind of an object, abstract time. Anyways, that's very, very detailed, but yeah. In the Middle Ages, or Middle Age, very, it was, what's it called, wertvoll, had a big price. I'm blanking on the word right now. Valuable, yeah. It was very valuable in the Middle Ages. Almonds and sugar in the Middle Ages were valuable. They were very valuable, these two products. Und jederzeit gegen größere Mengen Brot oder Fisch hätten getauscht werden können. And every time, that just would probably literally translate to every time, but this in this case would mean, yeah, it could have happened all the time, because und jederzeit against bigger amounts, gegen größere Mengen Brot oder Fisch, bread or fish, could have getauscht, which just means, what's it called? Switched is not the right way. Tauschen. Exchange. Yeah, it could have been exchanged. That just is in terms of money, in terms of I don't know what's the right way to say that. Like, you're not buying something, but you're like exchanging for something else of this worth, you know. Yeah, they could have been exchanged for bigger, or in this case, gegen etwas tauschen is also a common phrase in German. To exchange for something, you say against something. Größere Mengen Brot oder Fisch, bigger amounts of bread or fish, hätten getauscht werden können, could have been switched. Yeah, that is a very long verb construction, but this just means could have been switched. Hätten, they, like, what's the right way to say that? That is the hätten, the conjunctive case of have. Getauscht is switched in the second past form. Werden is the passive, like it could have been switched, nobody's doing it actively. And können is just to say it could have, you know. Anyways, that's very grammatically speaking. But yeah, I think this is already has taken very long, so I'm just gonna end this video here. Leave a like, leave a comment if you want to, as always, and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy these videos and want to support this work. So, and yeah, that was it for today. See you in the next video. Bye!